Hey, welcome to Men on Everything, where we talk about it all. Everything, some of the big stories that are going on. And I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis. Mark Clark is in New York City, and Troy Johnson is in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Man, you know, a lot of things going on, man. The Monae Davis thing, man. I don't know if you guys have been following that at all.
Yes.
But apparently, you know, Disney decided to make a movie about Monae Davis. And this baseball player at what was the name of that school, man? It was his name is Castleberry. That's his last name.
I'm sorry, Dingleberry is more like
Bloomsburg University, which I think is in Pennsylvania. He put out a tweet at the time he heard about it, and he says Disney's making a movie about Monae Davis. He's like, what a joke! That slut got rocked by Nevada, right? So. You know, Twitter is like an instant thing now, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting heated up. They're heating his ass up like big time, right? Oh. And then the school puts out a tweet and says Bloomsburg University is deeply saddened by what has happened about Monae Davis by one of our student athletes. His words do not represent us. We take this matter very seriously, address the issue with the student athlete who has been dismissed from the team. Man. And they also talk to the coach and the team. And so he tweets later on, an example that one stupid tweet can ruin someone's life. I couldn't be more sorry about my actions last night. I please ask you to forgive me. Truly understand that I, in no way, shape, or form, am I sexist, and I'm a huge fan of Monae. She was quite an inspiration.
All that fit on a tweet?
Well, I think over a few tweets, right? But you know, and so he got dismissed from the team, and so I talked about this on the radio show, and to me, you know, because the question is, was that penalty too harsh? And my answer to that is, this is a great life lesson.
Yeah.
This is a great life lesson for him, that words have consequences. Your actions have consequences. You know, first of all, you know, as a father, who calls a 14-year-old girl whom you've never even met, and the only thing you know about her was the story involving the Little League thing. You don't know really much else about her. So why is she a slut?
Yeah. Why
do you have to call her a name? You know, and like I've always told my girls, when someone calls you a name, that means you've already won. The mere presence of your name in their head has messed them up to the point where that's all they got, so you win. But, you know, the bigger picture here is what Monae Davis said, because she did say that it hurt. It was a very hurtful comment. Yeah. But she says he worked very hard to get where he's gotten, and she thinks he should be reinstated. And in fact, she contacted the school, asking the school to reinstate him. She went on to say that I don't think he meant what he said probably in the way everybody's taken is what I got from her statement. Right. But she seemed, a 14-year-old seemed to be the bigger person in this whole thing. Should he have been dismissed from the team? As a father, I say hell yes. He can stay at the college, he can keep his scholarship, but he can't be on the team. Okay? All right? So to me.
Well, I think as a father, I just say carry your ass on. But you know, I mean, what a Monae, her response, man, she needs to be our next president. No, I mean, he like you said, Tony, learned the valuable lesson these days that we didn't have to worry about. Is like Twitter is worldwide, baby, and you can mess you can F up your whole life on a stupid comment that tried to be funny, and oh well, you learned your lesson. I don't have much sympathy, but you know, I just think it is a valuable lesson. And when he's 45 years old and he's bagging them groceries, I'm sure he's going to say, man,
well,
only
you know,
have that tweet back.
So let me ask you this though, Mark. If you're dean of the school, does Monae's reaching out to me saying, I'm asking you to put him back on the team, do you reconsider based on what she's asked you to do?
If I'm the dean of the school, that I probably you know, to be honest, I probably would, because it is college, and you know, people make mistakes, and it's not supposed to be a death penalty. It would be a good PR move. It could show growth. You know, it could prevent a possible suicide from this guy. Because I mean, that is like, damn. I mean, you're at your church, at the barbershop, you can't go anywhere. You're like, there he is, the asshole.
Mr. Twitter.
Hey man, talk to any sluts lately?
Good job, Bob. You're just like your dad.
So
wow.
Monae got rocked by Nevada. You got rocked by the world.
I mean, so Troy, if you were dean, would you reconsider the decision if Monae Davis reached out to you and asked you to?
First of all, she doesn't get enough props There's something about Monae Davis that's just incredible already that we've seen. She's an amazing young athlete. Who knows what her potential is? But the way she carries herself is, you know, not just in this situation, but, you know, we've seen her being interviewed. It was a great interview on ESPN when she was with Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and just kind of, you know, talking to an Olympian and a young, it was great. And she just she's at ease in front of the camera. She understands that, you know, I mean, she's getting deals. You know, all these things are working out and lining up for her in such an incredible way. And she can take it. This moment was just another example of that. So I'm proud of her. I think that they probably took her comment to heart, but I think the university is like, oh no, we're just going to make this decision, and I think the same. I think, you know, if we've decided you're not going to play on a baseball team, I'm down with that. You know, even if she weighed in.
Okay. You know, oh, so you're going to keep him off the team?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Here's a lesson you're really going to learn.
Right.
Doesn't matter what she says. You know?
Gotcha. yeah. I'm the one.
And I think people do forget. You know, including the athletes. You know, anything you do, like when you're representing a university or a business or university, stick to university because the athletes. You know, it's not. You are no longer just a person who paid to go to the school. You are an extension of that organization.
So you're a representative. Yeah, you put the uniform on. Yeah.
And I think these athletes, you know, you get so caught up in the stupid things. Like even just saying that. See, we're from a different era. We would think twice, and we're older, of course, but even when we were younger, using that kind of language in public where people could see, I think we're just indoctrinated to think twice. These kids think they can get away with it. You know, you're an athlete representing this university. Are you sure you want to say that? You know what I mean?
You can't even say kids. You have to say people. There are grown people that use Twitter like a toilet bowl. You know, they feel empowered and feel like that they can comment in any way, and your picture and name is attached to it. I'm just amazed at some of the comments that people make about random things. That are sexist, they're racist, they don't have regard for other people, they're just overall just nasty. You know, we need Kurt Schilling to be the internet czar.
Yeah. We had a friend. Well, I'll just make it more vague. A friend of ours vouched for an instructor of one of our daughters in a sorority situation. And, you know, she's great. We love her as an instructor. She's great with the kids, all that stuff. But like you guys said, on her Twitter account, she's off the freaking chain. And so here this friend of mine who vouched for her, who's high profile, looked at Twitter and was like, oh, my God, like, you know, her image is jacked. Because the image that's on Twitter doesn't match the teacher instructor image that she has. And here you went ahead and vouched for this person. And so on the shield, you know, you're representing, and this person is, so, you know, my friend had to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And the person was apologetic, but that's the other thing. It's all there. It's not like you can go back and change it.
It's not going away.
Right. No, not going away at all.
And who are you? By the way?
Yeah, which one are you? So I know you guys heard about the Taraji P. Henson thing where she talked about her 20-year-old son and how she's going to send him to her alma mater, Howard University, as opposed to University of Southern California, where they basically live out in L.A., because she says he had been profiled a couple of times near campus, I think maybe on campus one time. She said he was in Glendale, did exactly everything the cops told him to do, including letting them illegally search his car, and they didn't even give him a ticket for what he was pulled over for. Then he's at University of Southern California, the school I was going to transfer him to, when police stopped him for having his hands in his pockets. Then she says, I'm going to send him to Howard University. And I'm not criticizing her at all. I don't, you know, but that's going to be everywhere, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the move to Howard is it really isn't about. It's not about the cops, and it's not about profiling. It's really about being in a world where a campus situation where, you know, you can be evaluated on who you are, not on like how people perceive you to be. You know, we talk about this. Allison talks about this with our kids a lot because Allison, of course, she went to University of South Carolina, but she also attended undergrad at Hampton University. And, you know, our kids go to a predominantly white school, and there's these instances that always come up where people, white people, project or aren't comfortable with, or even the dynamic of you just being the only black person. It creates this kind of situation where you're always defending yourself for just being who you are, you know. And so I think in the historically black schools, it offers a place where you don't have to fight that. On the campus, you know what I mean? In the classroom, you don't have to defend who you are by just being who you are. It's almost. But
then again, though, Mark, when you graduate though, and you go out in the real world, you're back at it again. Well, you are going to have to defend yourself, and you're going to run into this ugliness.
Well, yeah, there's no defense. What I'm saying though, Tony, is there is no defense for it, and that's just the real world. But it's a reprieve for you, to be finally even understand what it feels like to not have to tap dance and do what you do in this world, you know. And we talk about it all the time, you know, people being intimidated by you just because you're a black male or a person of color. I'm intimidated by, I don't know who you are, but because you're black, I'm intimidated by you. That's so unfair, you know. And I think she's giving him an opportunity to go somewhere. You don't have to worry about that in the campus. But yes, it's almost a utopian situation, but the rest of your life you'll be dealing with it, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, if I'm honest, Tony, you know, I'm from a small town, Springfield, raised in a very mixed situation. And, you know, so I understand people, and I have friends who are from all different backgrounds. But what I kind of forgot about, Tony, was I worked in urban radio for companies that were like black-owned companies for a large part of my career. And so going into a situation where it's not that, I see that kind of thing going on, and I had to laugh because I was like, wow, I hadn't realized I was kind of shielded from it. You know what I mean? Like walking into a room with people who don't know you, and there's projections on who you are based on either not being, you know, not comfortable working with people of color, or they haven't really done that, or all these dynamics that, you know, you don't even think about. I hadn't even thought about. You know?
Right.
You know, so I think, does it stop the profiling? No, but you know, I think in her mind, maybe it's a place it can get a reprieve just for a brief moment before you go face the real world.
Well, I know the USC released a statement that says they were disturbed to read about what Taraji said, and they want to look into the matter further because they're not disputing what she said. They just said if this is happening on our campus or near our campus, we need to make some changes, is what their statement was. Whether, you know, they're sincere about that or they're doing damage control, only time will tell. Also, Terrence Howard, fresh off that successful run of Empire, you know, there was some talk that he was trying to talk the producers of Empire into letting him use the N-word, which Taraji P. Henson, Cookie Line, was against that, but he wanted to do that. And he said in an interview with Access Hollywood Live that his white friends are allowed to say the N-word around him as long as it's not the ER version of the word. He says because if you use it the other way, it's not offensive. So he doesn't have a problem with white people using that word around him, which to me is the most asinine thing ever, because I'm old school. I come from the school where that word in any way, shape, form is offensive. It's offensive. You know, that's just an ugly, offensive word. No matter how you modify it, how you tweak it, it's still an ugly word.
Yes. I mean,
and I think he's wrong.
Yes. My thing is, you too old to be having this conversation, man, please. White people saying that word.
Yeah.
If you're 20 years old and you want to have this whole discussion, I'm too old, man. No. It's just no. Your white friend, it's okay. You can say, oh, wait a minute. You say ER. What are you talking about, man? That's ridiculous.
I mean,
this is cyanide, Tony.
Right.
I mean,
to me, it's like it's silly.
It's silly.
I mean, and the thing is, people need to understand is, like, I remember Sherry Shepherd saying on The View one time, she doesn't allow her white friends to say it. I'm like, well, you can't allow, and you can't stop people from saying what they want to say. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't. You just can't. And the only way you're going to get rid of this word is if no one says it. I mean, literally, no one says it. Short of that, that word is always going to be around. And so the reality is that that word is always going to be around because people just feel too strongly about it, about not being as offensive as other people say it is, and things like that. And you can't tell a group of people they can't say a word. You just can't. You can't do that. It's not realistic.
Well, I mean, it's just if my white friends say the word, then you wouldn't be my friend, probably.
I mean,
that's how I operate. This has never come up in my life,
right.
Because
right.
anybody who's insensitive enough to say nigger and they're white, in my situation, I'd be like, they're probably not my friend, or they get corrected, but it's never come up because that's stupid. Now, if you are young and you're like, yeah, nigga, if you are playing that nigga game, then that's kind of on you. If you're creating this environment where that's cool. But again, and maybe Tony, again, it's an age thing. I mean, this has never come up in my life. I mean, people, it'd be like if my Jewish friends, if I use offensive terms about Jews or Hispanics, and then would I be shocked? No, you don't do that, because in proper company, you just never do that.
No, it's a matter, to me, it's a matter of simple respect.
Yeah, and the whole...
And it's more about simple respect for myself.
Yeah.
For myself. I think enough of myself where I don't have to use that word. Because I know what it represents. I know people who have pictures of family members who were lynched, who were burned alive, and called that name as they were being hanged. And so it's like, to me, I understand that, but see, like I said, I come from a different generation.
Yes, and I mean, as you guys know, I use the word with my intimate friends. I do, and is that right? Probably not. But at the same time, I've never heard, again, my white friends have never. That's never been an issue for me, because it's not like that. It's almost like
right.
I'll bring it out in in exclusive situations.
When Mark says intimate friends, that includes his dogs too.
Well, let me ask you, Mark, have you ever said that word in front of your girls?
Yes, for jokes, yes, I have.
Okay, for jokes?
Yes. But as Troy has witnessed, sadly, the comedy level in our household is probably different than most. If it's funny, you might get a pass.
Yeah.
You might not get a whipping, even. If you can come up with something funny what just happened, I might give you a pass.
Have you ever heard your daughters use it?
No.
How would you feel
if heard their mother and father use it? But
so I saw this story about Jay-Z, and apparently he's going to settle a paternity lawsuit against him that involves a son he apparently fathered 21 years ago named Ramir Satterwhite, I think is how you say the name.
Wow, he's going to settle?
Well, this is according to the young man's legal guardian, because they say they've been going back and forth on this for quite a while. And at this point, settlement is on the table, and they're looking, just because Jay-Z just wants to get this over with because it's been going on for too long.
He wants to get a sadder weight off his shoulders.
And he refuses to give a DNA test.
Who does? Jay-Z?
Jay-Z. And see, there again, there goes the difference between our world and celebrity world, right? And not criticize the celebrity world, because if you're in celebrity world and you can use it to your advantage, I guess you're supposed to, right? But in regular world, you can be forced to give up a DNA sample. In their world, they can't make him do a damn thing, right?
Is that true?
Apparently, he refuses to give one. It's just been going on for 4 years that they've been trying to get him to give up a DNA sample, and he hasn't given it up. Why haven't they gone to court? Because that world is different from our world.
Wow.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Is that it's a different world. It's a different type thing. We found out that justice is different with the O.J. Simpson thing 20-something years ago. If you got money, your system of justice is a lot different than us.
Yeah, that's true, because you're right. I think in the average world, if somebody just says you're the father, then you have to submit to the DNA test.
Yeah, and the thing is, the young man apparently has some medical issues and will need the money to pay for some medical bills.
I didn't know that part.
So, but then there was a story, how long ago was that, when that he apparently has a 12-year-old son by a woman in Trinidad?
Yeah.
And he bought them a mansion, and he gives them money every month to stay out of his life?
Yeah. The rules are different in Trinidad Tobago.
Is that what it is?
Dirty wine. You know.
But you know what's amazing though, and
if the child is conceived during the dirty wine, you don't have the father does not have to step forward.
Wow.
Is that what it is?
Whiny, 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 whiny. You were dancing, Your Honor. I was dancing, and then it happened. Okay.
It's amazing though that when we revere our superstars to that point, they get a pass on everything.
Yeah.
If this is true, just to be fair, if this is true, but apparently this is supposed to be common knowledge. The situation in Trinidad, that he bought them a mansion and he sends them money. It's supposed to be common knowledge that he does this with the agreement that she and the boy stay away from him. Which if that's true, he gets a pass.
Well,
because he's Jay-Z. The superstars that we revere get a pass.
Well, like when
right?
Jay-Z stabbed Rivera for leaking his album, I was thinking, in your mind, you're like, I'm gonna stab him.
Yeah.
But when you stab somebody, they could die.
Right.
It could be something really tragic. And
Right.
he did stab Rivera, and he didn't go to jail. I don't even think he was charged. And I think said like, my bad,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a different mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that
wasn't that Puffy who took a chair to Stephen Stout? Remember that?
A bottle, I thought.
Oh, was it a bottle?
Yeah.
And nothing ever came of that. And he whooped him up pretty good, didn't he? He messed him up pretty good.
A swollen eye came from it.
Yeah. But nothing.
Oh.
No, but that world is different though. That world that's not our world. Our world, we get charged, we go to jail.
Well, sadly, Shine's world is like our world.
Yeah.
Life. What happened? I'm a rapper.
That's messed up.
I'm glad Shine, became a Jew to protect himself in jail.
I read yesterday Bobby Brown's cousin Gerard Brown was arrested on Monday. This is a week after he released a music video tribute called "Pray for BK" for Bobby Christina. Atlanta police says that they pulled over Gerard after smelling marijuana while driving behind his vehicle. Man. So they're behind you, man, and they can smell it? Really? When police pulled him over, he said he didn't have any weed, but he just came from the studio.
He didn't have any weed because he smoked it all.
The police report says Gerard didn't have his license on him. He claimed that his name was Jareem Reed and that he was born October 29, 1987. They investigated for about an hour, determined he was lying. He admitted his real name and correct birth date being November 9th, 1987.
Damn.
It was further revealed that he had a warrant out for his arrest, but no further details were provided. He was arrested for the prior warrant, driving without a license, and giving false identification to police. Yes, that's a charge. It's like, come on, man. Come on, man.
What's funny when, for those who've been through the system, when you hear this story, I heard a news reporter, and they're just like, why didn't he just give his name? Why didn't he just give his name? Well, those of us who are familiar, we know why. Some warrants, some charges.
Yeah.
So we would never say that in giving the news. Troy, you're a news guy. Why would he just say his name? Well, probably that name was wrong. That's why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's did they really pull him over because they smell weed?
Well, the license plate, the Georgia license plate said blowing trees on it. So.
Yes. And actually, he divulged that he was using weed gas, which is very popular in Atlanta.
Hey, speaking of, I don't know where this came from, this weed gas thing. I don't know, you're just playing, but what is this haku thing? What is that? What's that called? Not the haku. What's it called?
Hookah?
It's a hookah. Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
It's a Turkish smoking vessel.
But what is it? What is it? What you're supposed to puff on? What does it do? Does it clear your head? Does it make you high? What does it do?
They put a flavored tobacco like peach or cherry or strawberry.
Yeah. There's a hookah bar going up in flames right now. So
yeah, they're looking for Bobby Brown's cousin. And it sits on basically, Tony. I'm going to tell you what it is, but then I'm going to cut to the chase. So you put the flavored tobacco on it. It's a social. It's a Turkish smoking tradition. It's social, like the Indians sat around and smoked a peace pipe. in a Turkish club, you know, you smoke the hookah, have conversation, have a cup of coffee, and, you know, do your thing.
And there's little tips. There's tips and multiple, you know, multiple pipes, and they have plastic tips so you can use it. You know, So yeah,
all of this looks. Basically, it is a big ass bong.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's really what it is, Tony.
Yes.
It is the original bong. Now, when you go to a hookah bar, you know, people are smoking this flavored tobacco. But I'm sure a weed head, the very first time he sees this thing, has got to be licking his lips. Because he knows the things I could do with a hookah.
Yeah.
So
have you guys ever done it before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
It was
but in effect, you're just basically you're smoking a cigarette in a different form.
Yeah.
You're smoking tobacco.
More like a pipe.
and it's tobacco. Now the sad part is, yes, everyone's kind of doing it, and because it's like flavored tobacco, and usually it's higher quality tobacco. You know, some reports say it's like smoking a pack of cigarette instantly. So it's not good for you. It's not. You know, it's kind of like positioned as almost better than a cigarette, but it's really not.
And we want to regulate weed. But we can smoke a pack of cigarettes in a minute and a half.
Yeah, right. Well, and when I went to the Middle East, I found that a lot of some Muslims believe that it's haram, but some think it's okay. So you know, they don't really do the drinking thing, but the hookah bars where you get juice and, you know, tea, that's kind of popular. Like, you know, over there, people don't say, let's go to a bar. It'll be more like that. Get a coffee, you know, have a hookah.
Okay, I don't know. And how much does it cost a hookah?
$20, $15.
How much? Yeah. $15.
Maybe like $10. You know, like ordering a drink. I guess like $10.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and it's kind of like the people like the, you know, it's like looking like, social. Like I Dream of Jeannie. That's what it looks like, Tony. Like the you know, but people like the social aspect of it. You know, you get like I say, you get a juice and you have a, you know, talk about whatever, and it's kind of you know, soothing, that kind of smelling like Big Daddy's cherry tobacco he used to smoke back in the day. You know? Right.
Okay.
Did you guys have anybody who smoked the tobacco in your family?
Yeah.
Other than in the form of a cigarette, no.
Yeah, my grandfather did.
My grandfather smoked cigars and smoked a pipe occasionally.
It is a pleasant kind of, even the pipe thing, right? Troy, that sound, and they're talking to you. Boy, you know you need to.
No, my grandfather, who didn't speak English, he would get drunk and he'd like sit there and he'd smoke. That's the only time he ever smoked a cigarette. And he'd pull out his guitar and he'd have the cigarette hanging from his lip and he'd be like, "Pero queda la edad con la esposa, pero no chinga." And it's like.
So now we've never heard that story, Tony. That's
never ever heard that story.
And very well done, by the way. Very well done, by the way.
And everybody would be like, what? But the kids, the grandkids would be like, what the hell? You know, but the grown people, they can say, we're used to it, right? And it's like, you know, so it was no big deal. But he's like,
was he any good?
No. And he'd be like, and then he you know, it's like, what in the hell is that? Right? But you're like 8 years old, so you can't really say that, but it's like, what?
And his name's Jose Feliciano.
I was gonna say, and that's how the Lucius Lyons character was created.
Yes. So you might remember a couple of weeks ago, Creflo Dollar was on a campaign to raise $65 million because he wanted to buy a new jet. He needed a new Gulfstream because the one he had was beyond repair. Right. So he's asking 300,000 followers to kick in like $200 each, and he could get his jet. Well, he got heated up pretty good. It was a Kickstarter kind of thing, and he pulled it back. And then Kirk Franklin went in on Creflo Dollar, and he said when a pastor wants people to buy him a private plane while a missionary in Somalia bathes children with sores, that's a shortage of character. You know?
How many people say?
Damn.
You know, and he said, he says, you know, he went on to say a couple of other things too. And, you know, but then comes a gospel artist by the name of Johnny Tyrone Stringfield. tells his story. He says Kirk Franklin is a hypocrite. He says, I want to say something about Kirk Franklin coming out against Creflo Dollar. Kirk is no better than Creflo when it comes to character. And he tells his story. We were invited to the Sunday Best Show by Kirk's team, and we traveled 8 hours to get there. Now, keep in mind, they called us twice in advance to make sure we're coming. Well, when we got there, we were not able to go inside because they had overbooked the taping. So we traveled all that distance for nothing. Some people even took off of work to come. Kirk comes out, tells us he's sorry, and that was it. He didn't offer us gas, room, dinner, nothing. He has the nerve to talk about character. He says, man, please, he's got to be kidding me. So let me get in on this conversation about character. I will tell Kirk he has no room to throw stones.
Damn.
Okay, that's the same thing. That's not the same thing. No. I mean, plus we're supposed to believe you.
It's a little
who are you? Who are you? You're somebody trying to get some shine. I mean, come on, man.
Gospel shots fired.
Holy stones thrown.
Right. I mean, yeah, a multi-million-dollar plane versus a funky attitude and some tapered pants. You know, it's not some lip gloss and tapered pants. It's not the same.
It's not the same thing.
But, you know, that's the only problem when you. That is the only problem when you comment on a character issue. Then you are now open to, you know, character. That's why I don't. Right. I rarely call character stuff because people can point out that, you know, what am I doing at a strip club at 10 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't really. Oh, I'm sorry. That was years ago when I was in St. Louis. My bad.
Yeah. Remember when Terry Crouppen wanted to go to, what was the name of that strip club, to have lunch? Because he would take me and Mark to lunch, and he liked only going to, like, he didn't like franchise restaurants. Yes. So he took us to a strip bar. What's the name of that place, man? It was one of the bigger ones on the east side, because they're not in Missouri, you know. But we were over there, and you know, I mean, the wings were good, but it's like, you know, yeah. I had been out of that world for so long I felt
the thighs were good too.
Remember, I asked the stripper, how did her thing get like that?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Mark had one stripper. Like this. Okay. He was talking to, and next thing I know, he's like feeling on her implants. He's like feeling on her boob and stuff like that.
She invited me to, Tony, to test.
Oh, I know. We found out later, but we turn around and look at you, and you're touching this woman's boob, and me and Terry are like, what the hell's going on?
It was research, first of all.
It was
research, and she told me to. I was like, okay. Then she felt my implants, so it was kind of weird.
So anyway, the guy criticizes Kirk's character in response to Kirk criticizing Creflo Dollar's character, and it's just, you know, we're all flawed.
That's the 21st century for you, though.
Yeah.
Now people can go, oh, wait a minute, remember when you acted an ass? You know, nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
But this story sounds pretty credible, and you know, and I'm sure it's relatable somewhere. Like, yeah, that sounds like Kirk Franklin.
Well, and thank God for Kirk. That was kind of a weak story, you know, because you remember Kirk admitted to porn addiction and different things. So this story was kind of like, I know he was like, woo! I thought you were
your turn.
So this is what talk about that black bag I brought to service one time with a double ender in there.
Man,
wow.
Hey, this story comes out of your neck of the woods, Mark. A Long Island woman is suing because a mental hospital, for not believing that the President Obama follows her on Twitter, right? She kept saying that President Obama follows her on Twitter. Doctors at Harlem Hospital in the psych ward accused her of being delusional and being bipolar. And as it turns out, she was actually telling the truth.
What?
She spent 8 days, force-fed injections of sedatives, down doses of lithium. But the fact is, President Obama, well, his Twitter account follows like 640,000 people, and she was among one of them. You know, she was one of them. So, you know, she would tell them President Obama follows positive people. I'm a positive person. He follows me. And they were like, no, you're nuts. Then they medicated her, and they also challenged the fact that she worked at a bank.
And she did work at a bank?
And I think she did work at a bank.
Well, damn, so now Harlem Hospital's looking bad.
She's suing them because she was like, yo. Yeah, I mean, you guys drugged me up and said I'm bipolar and stuff, and she says he does, and it turns out he does follow her.
Well, but what she didn't say was she also told him she can make her booty talk. So they were like, see, okay.
yeah. We're gonna have to commit you for that. So
well, Kanye West,
you
said that the president calls him at home, and then on the show, the president said he does not call him at home. But do we believe that the president's people call Kanye at home?
No. I mean, what reason would the president need to call Kanye West? To talk about Kim's blonde hair? I mean, what reason would there be for him to do that?
Hey, Kanye.
You know?
Yeah.
Can I get 2 tickets to the? No, man. I mean, you know.
I saw your Adidas lookbook.
If there's anybody out there,
it's not safe for work. Just wanted to say that.
Man. And I saw this happened in St. Louis, that a New York college student got stranded here. He apparently had gone to South by Southwest in Austin and got a T-shirt. Comedy Central threw out some T-shirts for a show called Broad City, but on the shirt it says Broad Effin' City, and the effin' is actually the word. Mm-hmm. And so he gets on a flight, and he stops in St. Louis when they noticed what the shirt says. I guess he had a jacket on. He took it off, and they were like, "Yo, this is gonna be a problem, right?" And they asked him. The reporter asked him, "Well, did they ask you to take the shirt off, to turn it inside out, and put your jacket on, covered up?" He goes, "No, they never asked me anything." But there's video. Somebody, this world of smartphones, man. The exchange was caught on tape where a Southwest employee says, "Can you change your shirt?" Dude says no. He says, "Can you put the jacket on and leave it on through the flight? Can you put the shirt on inside out?" The guy says no. The worker says, "Is there anything you can do not to display the shirt, because at this point we can't allow you to go?" And the guy says, "I got freedom of speech." And the worker says, "I know you do." And the guy says, "Really, it's not bothering anyone." And the worker says, "Well, I can show you in our contract of carriage that you can't wear any shirts that says offensive." And the guy says, "Can we take a poll?" So they took him off the plane. They fixed the problem. He got on the next flight back to New York. But it's like, to me, he's got to come off the plane for asking the question, "Can we take a poll?" Can we take a poll? Man, sit down, man.
Yeah, right this way, sir. To the gangway.
No freedom of speech. No. You just can't go around walking around wearing a shirt like that and not expect something to happen. You can't do that. We're not ready for that. We're not ready for that.
Troy, I'm doing the Troy Johnson, and now almost enacting a rule that every person who says freedom of speech has to take a damn class. Because yes, you have a right to say whatever you want to say, but not in a damn plane.
No.
When you bought your ticket, there are certain rules that you have now signed up for that change your freedom of speech and a whole bunch of stuff. Like you can't have a gallon of Kool-Aid on the plane. Freedom of speech, no, 3 ounces. That's all you can do. So,
but I think a lot of people miss the point, though, Mark. That freedom of speech, it means you can say what you want without recourse, without retaliation from the government. Right. And so
you have a right to say what you want to say.
And I have a right to pull you off that plane.
Yeah, in my business, I have a right to say, I decline service. No, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
You have a right to deal with the consequences of your actions, and that's what happened. What about this guy, Tony? There's a guy named Guy Fouquet. That is not the way his last name is spelled, though. It's spelled F-K.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's a basketball player in Canada. This is the best college in the world. Medicine Hat College.
6'9", Medicine Hat Senior.
So, the fighting subscriptions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the fighting prescriptions.
So he's in the Canadian basketball championships, and that his last name is in the box score, probably on his uniform and everything. And he says, "I don't have any plans to change it. I'm here to spread the F word."
Is it F-U-C-K? Is there an S or just F-U-C-K?
No, F-U-C-K.
And it's pronounced
Fouquet.
Fouquet.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If that's his name. That's his name. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
He don't give a Fouquet. My name.
I mean, what can you do? See, that's different, though. See, that's just.
But I mean, he flies into St. Louis with his basketball jersey on.
Yeah. Well, and then actually they probably
that is true.
Because of the spelling, they probably would have the same issue because people don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if he pulls out his ID and it shows what his last name is, there's not really much they can do about that. They probably can ask him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir.
Can you? But if you deny him because of his name happens to be, in this country an offensive word, that's a whole different thing, though. I'd be interested to see how they would handle that, though.
Yeah. It's my name.
That's
it's
a great
my name.
question. Yeah, that's Fouki.
Yeah. Well, if he's a big black guy, bald black guy, he's going down. The world has no sympathy for a big bald black guy in any situation. Yeah. Well, he should have known better than that. Even his grandmother said, my whole family knows better to do that.
Mm-hmm. That'd be Mother Fouki.
So, yeah, you can't do that.
No. So you guys got anything, man?
Man, Fouki.
Fouki. But that's a tough one, right?
I can give 2 Foukis if you're going to go or not. All right.
Well, all right.
I'm trying. Well, guys, I'm trying the Meerkat on right now. Shout out to Twitter.
Yeah.
Who's watched a bit of us taping on this new app that Tony and Troy just told me about.
Yeah, Meerkat apparently was the talk of the South by Southwest week of whatever was going on. It was the talk of the whole thing. The Meerkat is an app that works with Twitter that allows you to live stream through Twitter.
It was actually, Tony, it was the number 2 cat mentioned at South by Southwest.
Okay, got you. I don't know. I have no idea.
You know the first cat.
Yes. So that's
number 1.
That's Men on Everything. That's what we do. We recently did a Men on Empire show where we recapped the season finale, and you can watch it. We'll put a link, make it available to you for that. We also do Men on Scandal.
How many likes did we get, man?
Last time I looked, it was about 350.
Okay.
I gotta say, I played it for a friend, and they fell out. It's one of the funniest shows we've ever done. Really, it's funny.
Yeah.
But we just have 350 people who've seen it.
No.
We need some more.
Do a brother a favor.
Typically, Tony, how many do we get though? Typically, do we get for Men on
Scandal? We're usually in the thousands, like over 1,000 with Men on Scandal. So,
but Men on Everything.
Men on Everything, not so much. It's like for close. We do this for close friends and family.
Yes.
So they can see
with
us.
The Foukis.
With the Fouki, we do it for the Fouki family.
Well, I have another network that we may be on, guys. I'm excited about. I'll tell you about it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So appreciate all you can do for us. Sharing this means the world. Trust us. All right. And also, if you can give us a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel. We are growing our subscriptions. We're headed towards 2,500, man. So if we get to 2,500, that means I'm 1/4 of the way to 10,000.
Yes.
Which would help do some stuff with YouTube and get take it to another level. So brother needs some help. You can help a brother out. And we've gotten a couple of people who have actually become patrons of ours on Patreon. So if you'd like to do that, and YouTube has this new thing called cards that they use. And let me see, I'm trying to get this right over here. So if I'm looking this way, so I think it's like right here, you'll see like an eye inside of a white circle. And if you click that, some things will drop down where you can check out some playlists of some shows we do. I'll put like the Men on Scandal playlist on there. And then you can also become a patron of ours on Patreon for as little as $2.99 a month. And it helps us offset some of the costs, the cable bills, things like that, or the internet bills, things like that. So it helps do that. And also a couple other things, options that you can also check out too. So that's part of, you'll see it drop down when you see it.
Hook it up.
Hook it up. So thanks so much for watching Men on Everything. We'll be back later this week for Men on Scandal. For Troy Johnson in Washington, D.C. and Mark Clark in New York City, I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis. Thanks for watching.